Ambassador, thank you for joining us. You've watched Mr. Putin for some time. What do you think he actually wants out of this crisis?
I think President Putin is testing the Western alliance, certainly NATO. He's testing America. He wants to see how far he can go. He has the history of going into Georgia, taking two provinces there, and having relatively little blowback. Same thing with Crimea in 2014. And I think he sees a potential to disrupt the alliance, to cause dissension in the alliance. And I think he is testing to see how far he can go.
I spoke to Dmitry Polyansky, who is the Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations for Russia. And I put it to him that actually Mr. Putin, aside from what of his ultimate objectives might be, may be rather enjoying the situation because he is destabilizing the West. He has people talking about him. He has Western leaders coming to his table. Do you think, in some senses, it will pay him to play this long and play it out for as long as he can?
I think that is clearly something that he relishes, that he would be getting this much attention. And he is trying to cause dissension in NATO. I believe that we can all say that he's actually done the opposite. He has made NATO much more united, much more unified in speaking to Russia and seeing what they do.
Do you think that there is any realistic military response open to NATO were there to be a Russian incursion?
Well, I think there will be cyber. This is my prognostication that it would be, yes, in cyber, that there could be military in the cyber arena, because Putin has clearly shown that he will use cyber attacks and he will use disruptive cyber messaging, but also shut down, and he's used malware as well as ransomware. He's been connected to those kinds of attacks in our country as well as others. So I think on the cyber front, yes, that there could be attacks back. We have the capability to attack back, and I think that is one of the tools in the toolbox.
So you think a military conflict on the ground is unlikely?
That's my view, but I cannot say that I would bet the ranch on it, as we would say in Texas. I don't know if he would really be able to convince his people that it would be worth killing Russian soldiers. The Ukrainians would lose, but also Russia would as well. And I don't think he would want that. So I would err on the side that he wouldn't do that, but I do think he will do a lot of damage in other ways.
If there's going to be a way out of this in the diplomatic sphere, would one way of starting this be simply for NATO to rule out the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO?
I do not think that is an option, because everyone is I think unified in saying that it would be such a sign of weakness for NATO to pledge to Russia that we wouldn't take in any other country that seeks membership in our NATO alliance. I don't think we would ever do it. And I think it would be the wrong signal. What we need to do is show strength. I think that's what Putin understands, is strength and unity. And there's no way that we would sit back and let Putin then have a veto over a country that qualifies.
So last point, do you think the United States could help to, as it were, stiffen Europe's spine by saying, for example, it will guarantee gas supplies to Europe in the event that the Russians decided to put the squeeze on energy supplies from Siberia to Western Europe?
We definitely need to do that. That is something that has been uh, talked about, but I think now is the time for action. We have abundance energy resources in America and natural gas that we could export, but we have to be able to get the receiving facilities in our European countries. And there have been many obstacles to those receiving facilities being built, but we can provide affordable natural gas, which is clean energy, to our European allies. And that's what we ought to be promoting much more now that we have seen that Russia really will use gas as a leverage. And that is the next step that I think will come up in Congress. And I hope that the administration will work with Congress to start promoting natural gas exports.
Ambassador, thank you so much for your time.
Trevor, thank you. It's been great to visit with you.